Hey friends, welcome back to another video in my Building the Worlds 10 Years Later series. So I'm here in Willow Creek at the Blue Velvet nightclub, and I am renovating this for Bob Pancakes. He is the brand new owner of the Blue Velvet, so yeah, let's get into it. So if you didn't see my last video in this series, you'll probably want to go and watch that because you'll get a lot more context, but yeah, basically the Pancakes, they are still together 10 years later. I am sorry to all the haters out there who did not want their relationship to succeed, but it has, so you're just gonna have to deal with it. I'm sorry. But yeah, Bob Pancakes has bought the Blue Velvet and he is going to add a restaurant to it. And throughout this series, I'm also going to be adding in some additional characters, some additional lore. So part of that is the previous owners of this nightclub. They've retired, they wanted to sell it. Bob has been a regular patron of the Blue Velvet. So yeah, he told them that he was interested in buying it, so they sold it to him. And I'm gonna have a video out next week about the previous owners, so I don't want to give away too much right now. But yeah, so turning it into a restaurant, but the top floor will still be a nightclub slash bar. Yeah, and the ground floor will still have a kind of, I guess, a stage with instruments and everything. So this lot can actually be used as a restaurant, a nightclub, or a lounge without needing to add or change anything. It could also be used as a bar with, I think, like if you put a TV in, you could change it to a bar lot. But yeah, so that's nice. Gives you some flexibility if you want to download this off the gallery. And while I was building this, I really wanted to keep the character of the build from, the kind of New Orleans inspired style. And my thought is that, at some point this build was kind of renovated into what it was before. So Bob is actually taking it back to like the very original version of this build when it was built, back in, I don't even know when, but yeah, so maybe he power washed the brick. That's why it's lighter now. Painting out all the windows black, adding some in. Maybe some of the windows had been, closed up. So kind of reopening some of those walls and windows. I thought that would be kind of an interesting way to kind of go about it. And you may notice that the first part of this build is pretty smooth because it looks like I know what I want to do, what I want. And the truth is, I did, because I basically did a test build of this before I started recording. Because, I don't do a lot of commercial lots. They're always a bit of a challenge for me. So I basically just kind of sketched out, in the game, kind of what I wanted. So that's why the first part of this video will be pretty smooth as far as, getting all of the different things done that I want to. So most of the, what I would say, construction of the build, goes pretty smoothly. The furnishings are maybe a little less so, but I will kind of mix up the editing a little bit with that. So a couple parts I will kind of slow down the footage and just kind of be placing things that I've already picked out. So you'll notice that I think at least twice maybe. So yeah, so a little bit different on this video, kind of a mix of different styles. And I wanted this to feel like a fairly realistic renovation, so I didn't change the exterior too much. I did make the kind of kitchen area a little bit bigger, so I did bump out that, which just kind of helped with the wraparound deck. And I also pulled the deck all the way to the edge of the building. I thought that would make a little bit more sense for this style of build. And I really like how the first floor came together with the kitchen off to the right and the two bathrooms downstairs. And then I basically did a green room and I actually colored it green. So there's kind of like a dressing slash sitting area for, any performers who are going to be on stage. So yeah, I thought that would be kind of like a nice touch because I had this, little 3x3 room that I wasn't sure what to do with. So I thought that would be an interesting use of the space. And yeah, it gave like a this hallway area, which was nice. And yeah, I think the layout worked out really well in this one. And a lot of the second floor was just like a big open space to the first floor, which wasn't a super great use of space, especially since the kind of walkway area upstairs was only 2 tiles wide. So, you couldn't put a lot on there if you wanted to. Maybe some chairs, I guess. But yeah, I closed most of that off. And then I kind of open up a bit by the door, which you may have seen. So I think that worked out a bit better. Obviously gave a lot more usable floor space for when I do the kind of dance floor area and the bar upstairs. But yeah, in the kitchen, I did kind of a basic furnishing. I'll change it up a little bit later, but yeah, pretty simple kitchen. I didn't go kind of overboard on detailing or anything, since it's just a commercial kitchen. And I thought it would make a lot of sense to have a stage in this build, because I wanted this to still be usable as a lounge, and you need musical instruments and all of that in order for it to be classified as a lounge. So I thought a stage made sense. It also helped that the walls were medium height, so extra space for a platform. So that worked out nicely. I'll add some more instruments a little bit later. I'll do some kind of curtains around the edges of the stage, just as, kind of like an acoustic dampener, I guess. I think that's the right term. I don't fully know, so let's just say that that's correct. Though I will say, when I was doing the screenshots, I had the lot set to a restaurant. And people, the Sims would just like randomly play the like guitars and stuff on the stage. And they were pretty bad at playing them. So it made a lot of other people very uncomfortable. Yeah, so if you want to run this as a restaurant, you may just want to get rid of those instruments, or something, or somehow block off the stage so they can't get to them. Unless you want all of your guests to be very uncomfortable with people playing music badly. I'll leave that up to you, but just thought you should know that. And when I was working on this, I did look up quite a few different, inspiration pictures from New Orleans to, kind of base off of. And quite a few of them of this style had this diagonal wall at the front, kind of at the front corner, where the entrance would be. So I thought that would make sense to add that in. I'm honestly kind of surprised that they didn't do it in this game, because the Sims team loves adding diagonal walls everywhere. But I guess they do only put them where they shouldn't be instead of places that make sense. So yeah, so I added that. I thought that worked out really nicely, especially with the curved deck and patio. I thought that would kind of mirror in there pretty well. And wow, that was a really great unintentional segue into me placing a bunch of mirrors in this dance area. I played around with how I wanted to decorate this area for too long. I was messing around with some other types of mirrors. I think there's one from Spa Day that has like the lights behind it. I messed around with that for a bit. That wasn't really working how I wanted it to. So I used these kind of panels from the Maximalist kit, I believe. And then I put mirrors inside each of them, which was a little tedious to raise all of them up, but I think the effect was pretty nice. I looked at a bunch of different nightclub photos also, because I never really know how to decorate a nightclub, because I don't know. I mean, it's dark. You're not really going to be able to see, pictures and all of that. And I saw one that had a lot of different types of mirrors on the wall, which I thought was cool. So that was the kind of original inspiration, but then I switched it a little bit because I wanted it to feel more in the style of the building and the time frame that this would have been originally built. So I thought that worked out pretty well. And then I put in this spandrel just as some extra support. Seeing as I took down a bunch of walls and stuff, I thought it would make sense to have, more of a beam right there. And for this bar area, I decided to go a bit more modern with it than kind of a lot of the other parts. I don't know, it just kind of made sense, especially with these nectar displays that they have on the wall. that I did keep from the original. I just added some mirrors in. I'm adding in some strip lights up above, and in a minute here I will kind of transition ahead because I spent quite a bit of time off camera putting in strip lighting all the way around this area, and then changing all the lights to a like red color. So yeah, you'll see that I will slow down the footage back to like 1x speed to give you kind of a brief overview of what I did. So yeah, that'll be coming up here in just a second. And I started off with these red curtains, but it was just a lot of red. So I turned those all down to black, which I think worked out much nicer, especially with all of these red lights that I did. And I also did the lighting above the dance floor. I just used some of those, I don't know, kind of like studio lights. I can't remember which pack those are from, but they're the ones with the colored light instead of just like the standard track lighting. So yeah, I think that worked out nicely. I just did a little bit of seating up there. Again, I didn't do a lot of like decorative items or a lot of clutter or anything. I didn't think it would make a ton of sense in that space. And then yeah, outside here, I do the thing where I've already pulled everything out and I'm just kind of placing it now. So I thought that worked out better for this deck area because I wasn't really sure what to do. There's a lot of space out here, but not a lot of great like activities or items that I thought made sense for a commercial lot like this. So I ended up doing just a lot of seating. I did a couple of chess tables. I found these flower boxes that I put kind of on the ground or like on the floor to make it seem like the vines were coming out of it. And then I did that again on the bottom floor. And I also added in a street piano. I thought that would be a really fun addition. So yeah, so that's down there. Working on the signage for the restaurant and the club right now. And I put up these sort of like hanging ferns off of the edge of the upstairs patio deck area. And I didn't include that footage here in the video, just since it was very tedious to do that. Since they didn't, snap to anything, I had to raise them up manually. But I think the effect is pretty nice, and they don't go down with the walls when you're doing like cutaway mode. You can kind of see here. But I didn't think it was that big of a deal. It's far enough away from the building that it didn't really affect the visuals. So yeah, hopefully that's not a big deal, but I thought the effect was really nice, so I wanted to keep those in. And then here again, I've kind of slowed down the footage a bit to show me kind of placing all the items that I've already taken out. It took a little while to figure out which tables and chairs I wanted to use, and also what I wanted to do with the curtains. Since there's, kind of this 2-story entrance, it was a little bit weird. I played around with adding curtains to the second floor on those windows, but it just wasn't really looking right. It'd be really great if they had some sort of 2-story curtains. I don't know how that would work, but I don't know. Something like that would be really nice. And I also used the kind of individual curtain rod pieces to put in between them. It's not like an exact match, but I think it still worked pretty well. So I thought that was kind of like a nice touch there. And yeah, I added in the extra curtains around the stage area. I thought that would be nice to. I thought that would make sense. And now I'm working on this back sort of patio area. And yeah, the original had this really big fountain back here, which I didn't think made a lot of sense. So I did not keep that. I'm sorry if you love that fountain, but you'll have to put it back yourself if you want to. But yeah, didn't really think that made sense. And then I ended up actually using the fence from Horse Ranch, which is kind of an odd choice, but I don't know, it just looked the best in this build to me. I tried pretty much every other tall fence in the game. I didn't include all that footage because it was, kind of boring. But yeah, I thought this one worked pretty well. Maybe a unusual choice to use stable fencing for a restaurant, but I don't know. I think it looks kind of nice. And then I put in a dumpster. I did kind of like a trash area. You'll definitely want to make sure to lock that gate though, so customers don't go back there. They were constantly going back there and tipping over the other garbage cans that I have. Yeah, that was really weird and annoying. But yeah, I don't do a whole lot back here. I just added in some tables so there's more seating for the restaurant, which honestly I kind of forgot about when I was playing because I was actually running it as a restaurant. So yeah, don't forget about those customers because they won't be very happy if you do. And I also decided to add in some vertical planters in this little area. Maybe not the best next to all the trash, but I thought it'd be kind of nice to have a space, you know, if you wanted to grow some herbs or anything for the restaurant. I don't know how well they'll actually grow in the game unless you're there like overnight. I'm not exactly sure how that works. So that might not be super useful, but I thought it was kind of nice. I did actually plant some things in it, so there are already some plants in it if you'd like from the gallery, so you won't have to do that if you don't want to. And normally with my builds, I usually do all of the lighting last, but I did some of the lighting kind of throughout the build. I'm doing the majority of the lighting right now, and then I still have some other things that I do after I do all of the lighting. But yeah, so I also added in strip lighting around the nightclub area. I thought that worked out really well. I did those as just white lights. That was kind of nice behind the sort of wainscoting paneling that I used. I think I did one kind of closer to the floor and then one all the way at the top, and that seemed to give just enough light for the space. So yeah, I think that worked out really nicely too. And then I realized that I hadn't really put anything in this little hallway area. So I did just put in a sofa. I'll put in a bookcase as well, which may or may not be a good idea. Sims were taking some books out of there to read and leave around the place. So, you may want to get rid of that if you don't want to have to be cleaning up books all the time. But yeah, I'm just going to finish up with this room and a little bit more lighting, and then that'll be it for me. I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying this series as much as I am. It's been a lot of fun reimagining all these different builds and these families and stuff. So yeah, you'll have to let me know what you want to see next and if you have any ideas. If you liked the video, please leave a like. That helps a lot. And please subscribe if you'd like to see more. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.